It feels like not too long ago we were here in this room. Some of you have been here before for this event. We announced that 2016 was the 35th anniversary of the HOMTV Internship Program. Back in 1981, the first intern started, and we have grown ever since, and you will definitely see the work of our current year interns and testimonials from alumni in just a moment. But I want to ask Communications Director Deborah Guthrie to join me up here for a brief introduction of our keynote speaker.
The key word is brief in that introduction of me, because Brandy knows I tend to rattle on and on a little bit, so I will try to keep it brief. For those of you who don't know me, I hope to meet you this evening. I was an intern in 1996. Luckily, I was passing by a flyer on the campus of Michigan State University in the telecom building. They probably call this the Com Arts and Science building, in the Com Arts and Science building, and saw a flyer for an orientation night. And I believe it was and Ben Stark is here, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was a Friday evening. And so most of you students, a Friday evening, why would I go to an orientation night for a non-paid internship on a Friday evening, which is exactly what I thought, and I'm sure other people have thought the same too. But it was done with intent and with a purpose. And Ben, being the first intern, always did things with intention and with purpose. And it was to attract candidates who wanted to work hard, who were willing to give up their Friday evenings, their Saturday evenings, their Sundays, their weekends, their MSU games, their Thursday night parties. You know, I was a single mom at the time, so I didn't have those Thursday night parties. I had, family time with the kids. So for me, Friday evening was, well, let me ask my mom to babysit. Let me see if she can babysit so I can go to this informational session. And so I want to recognize my mom. She's here tonight. Mom, if you could stand up, make you stand up. This is my mom. Her name is Christine, and I'll try not to cry because I love her so dearly. I could not have gone through the internship program without my mom, because it is, as you all can give testimonials to, it's difficult, it's tough, it's rough, it's hard. We put you through the ringer. You give up your life to become a reporter. And as a non-paid intern for the HOMTV Internship Program, those are the candidates that we look for. Those were the candidates that Ben Stark looked for. So many of the things that Ben Stark set up, his legacy, we still have flyers. I still find them to this day in my drawer at my office, and I give them to Brandy, that say what a successful HOMTV intern looks like, and it has outgoing, outstanding, dedicated, determined, all these words, and I know that flyer was created well before my time. And it was set up well before we started. And so I also want to recognize my other family members who are here tonight. My sister-in-law, Kelly, my husband, Al, my brother, Mike, my niece, Kristen, her boyfriend, Robbie, and then if the bearded man could stand up, please. Believe it or not, this is my son, Matt. He's my youngest son. Not to go on and on, but Matt felt many sacrifices that I had for the dream that I wanted to become a reporter and work at HOMTV. HOMTV has always been very dear to me. Matt's had to go on, let's see, you were born in 1993, I was an intern in 96, so you were 3 years old. Matt went on many video shoots with me. Matt had to go to the studio with me. Matt had to play with his trucks on the floor in the editing room while I edited because I really, really wanted this. I was determined. And after I worked for free for a year at HOMTV, that worked about 30 hours a week, non-paid. It's because I wanted to, not because it was required. It's only a 15-hour requirement. We've kept a lot of the requirements that Ben Stark had back in the day. But those kinds of things, you sacrifice, you know, what you want to do. And after I did that for a year, I then went to ESPN and worked for them for a year, which is how I met my husband, and came back full-time in 1998 and have been with Meridian Township ever since, and I completely love it. But it couldn't have been possible without Ben Stark having that orientation night and setting up this phenomenal internship program for me and everyone else that's come after me and everyone before me. And so without further ado, because I can tell you my whole life story since 1998, I want to introduce Ben Stark. Thank you so much. Come on up here. And if before I leave, if current interns, if Brandy and I have ever made you cry, like, oh my God, it was so much work, Ben has made me cry, and you know it's true, and that's okay. Just because it was just a hard thing to get through at one point, and that's all right.
I didn't mean to make you.
He made me tougher. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for the invitation. Thank you very much to Mr. Walsh for being here. Bringing township board members here is very, very important. I appreciate your comments on how you see things here. It's what we've always wanted to have the township manager and the township board see us as, so I appreciate that you do see us that way. For those of you who followed the 2016 presidential campaign, I'd like to make one thing perfectly clear. I am not using a teleprompter. I am totally off prompter right now. Okay. Well, anyway, over the years, television sure has changed, hasn't it? Many of us older folks remember 3 channels, rabbit ears, introduction of color pictures. Now we all watch TV on our phones. Well, things have really changed. It's been challenging in the industry. I don't know how many other industries have been challenged as much as TV, radio, digital communications. Does anybody remember when they were talking about something called appointment television? You remember that some years ago, 10, 15 years ago? It's already foggy. Some people do. Now, when we watch the little big screen, too often what we see is more like disappointment television. It's very glitzy, it's very fast-paced, it's not really high on content. Not with home TV. How many of you recall a time before so-called reality TV? It came on, they started talking about reality TV shows. I never understood the terminology. Those shows have plot control and scripting, and they feature folks behaving in the strangest ways possible. But the true reality TV is what you see on home TV. There's no such thing, actually, as a reality TV star. The people who get those titles are actors working for entertainment purposes. And those of you who show up on home TV are the true reality TV stars. Except you're not stars. You're just people. And that is our actual reality. So I want you to remember that your work at home TV is actually more important than most of the programs you see on the little big screen. Even if some of you interns move on to work on some of those types of programs in the future, you'll always know in your heart that this work was more important, because home TV is America on television. Now, Deborah has carried on quite a bit about me in 1996 and everything, and I was an intern in 1981. I started full-time in 1984, and I did run things in a certain way and so forth, but it's really not about me. But to get an idea of what it takes to be successful working at home TV, let's turn to Vince Lombardi. While the great coach has left us, his message lives on. Here are some quotes from Vince Lombardi that fit how we do things at home TV. The achievements of an organization are the results of the combined effort of each individual. People who work together will win, whether it be against complex football defenses or the problems of modern society. Individual commitment to a group effort, that is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, a civilization work. Coach Lombardi knew what many successful leaders have always known. Successful efforts are not about an individual, they are about a team. Those of you who work at HOMTV are on a very important team. Now, a couple of words from General George S. Patton. The guy they called Old Blood and Guts has a lot to say about warfare, and that's not part of our work here, but he knew a thing or two about how to be successful as a team. These are actual quotes from George Patton. If everybody is thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking. Never tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. You're never beaten until you admit it. I never had to send a young person into war, but at HOMTV we constantly send interns into battle. These are not life and death missions, but they are missions nevertheless. They are missions with goals and objectives and tools to use and to accomplish the mission. Cameras, lights, microphones, control rooms, and studios. So the main message here on this speech is to tell you what we do with interns at HOMTV and how we make it possible for them to succeed. Let's talk about a wall. The wall is a powerful metaphor in human events because there are so many of them. The old Berlin Wall in Germany, the Western Wall in Jerusalem, the Great Wall of China, or the wall that long-distance runners hit around the 18-mile mark of a marathon. There was even a famous record album in the 1980s called The Wall. Walls can be physical or theoretical. Most folks that come to HOMTV have little to no experience with the tools they need to use on their various missions. They must be taught some basic skills to allow them to get going, but after that, it's all about the individual. In effect, we assign interns to run as hard and fast as they can right into a wall. They don't know it's there, they don't know how to get through it, and we send them right into it anyway. I'm talking about the first time running a camera, or technical directing a live show, or doing a stand-up, or writing a story, or scheduling guests for a show. Whatever it is you came here to do, there's a first moment where you are so excited to get going down that road right up until you hit your own wall. I'm talking about that point where you really don't know what to do next. You seem stuck. You know you need to keep moving forward, but there's a wall in your way. You don't know how to get through it, over it, under it, or around it, but there it sits. And you know you can't go backwards. Whatever you do next is what tells us if we picked the right person for the job. You may or may not be successful the first time you hit the wall. Our little secret, and we will never tell you this again, is that we're not watching to see if you succeed, we're watching to see if you quit. We literally run you into the wall. Whatever happens next, we'll help you up, we'll help put you back together, just like the scarecrow in the haunted forest after the monkeys tore him up. Remember, the scarecrow got the stuffing pulled out of him, but he never gave up. And the scarecrow played on the winning team. Well, looking back, I was hired at Meridian Charter Township into a one-man job. No full-time employees, no part-time employees, no interns, just me. I built a team because that was the only road to success. Creating my staff was the way I got through the wall. As we hired people into part-time positions and paid internships and eventually full-time employees, we always asked one question during the interview process. How do you see HOMTV in 5 years? It's a theoretical question, one that makes you look into the future through your imagination to see how you think and feel. And while we got many different answers to that question, they all included the same basic ingredients. That HOMTV will be better than before, it will be here, and it will be better. So that was always our dream. That HOMTV would continue into the future, always pressing forward to be better and better with each passing year. And our dream has come true. Thank you for that, Deborah Guthrie. Thank you, Lynn Meikle. Thank you, Brian Dumont and Rob Gingrich. Thanks, Brandy Yates. You know, people giving speeches about their success often use the term, "We stand on the shoulders of giants," to describe how it all came to be. But that's not true here. You all actually stand on the shoulders of regular people like yourself, who found a way through their wall. We memorialize them not because they were bigger and better than us, but because they did what was necessary for us to be here today. And with that, I would like to mention a few more people before we move on with the rest of the program. Talking about township staff and people who run things, very important. Bud Brokaw hired me into Meridian Township and was my direct supervisor for most of the first decade. Bud was super qualified for his job, having spent his career in the United States Army. He was the backbone to the township staff as long as he worked there. And I thank Bud very much for everything. The role of the Communications Commission was vital in our early years, and we were blessed to be served by Dr. Erling Jorgensen, who was chairman of the commission for 18 years. His effectiveness was marked by both what he did and what he chose not to do. He supported us and guided us as needed. He never turned his back on us or left us in the lurch. We owe our gratitude to Erling Jorgensen, and I hope everybody remembers that when they walk into Studio J. It's named that way for a reason. After Dr. Jorgensen retired, I was most appreciative of Chairman David Held and Bob Holman. And to those of you on the township board and elsewhere in the township administrative structure, I'd like to mention that Meridian Township was generally, almost always, a very nice place to work. Very friendly, very comfortable. I know you could say, hey, work is work. What do you expect? But it's a lot easier to be effective when you feel good about coming to the office. Not that I expected a rose garden. After all, they call it HOMTV, not Camelot TV. But anyway, please keep your employees in mind at all times as you make the really big decisions, because it'll help you succeed if you are stronger together. After 5 years on the job, I was able to start hiring some full-time personnel, and my production manager Hall of Fame includes the dynamic duo of Amy Leahy and Diane Lindquist, who are now Amy McGraw and Diane Zoltowski. These are people from the past. Also the other dynamic duo of Tanya McLaughlin and Carrie Mernon, who are now Tanya Bengtson and Carrie Fairweather. And I could never forget Matt Schuster, who I'll always appreciate for taking the baton from me when it was finally time to hand it off. And Deborah knows all these people. She is a link to the past. Believe it or not, organizations don't run without support staff, so I'd also like to mention Barb Vandenberg, Sharon Hartley, and Robin Faust, who are thought of as secretaries, but they are so much more. In closing, a famous woman once said, "It takes a village to raise a child." I would like to say, it took a township to raise HOMTV, and it will take that same township to keep it alive and well moving forward into the future. Thank you very much. Let's get on with the show.
We've received many tributes from the Township Board, the Communications Commission, Mike Bishop's office, Ingham County Board of Commissioners. We want to give Ben his own certificate for the 35th anniversary of the HOMTV Internship Program.